the imprisonment upon your mind. You feel as though you're trapped within our course in a miracle of the release of the defenselessness, the defensiveness of ourself, in the particulars of the recognition of the important lesson that we've embarked on today, in hopes that we could progress to a moment when the idea of the light illusion that seems to surround you could be particulars of the fundamental acknowledgement that the condition of you within that body form, in the illusionary nature of the refraction and reflection of light that you find corresponding to yourself, are images that you have made concerning outcomes that you want to be true within your own mind. As an instructor in a procedure of mind conversion, in the prescribed method by which you could come to know who you are, we are at a factor in our minds where we are going to entertain directly the idea that defenselessness can be important to us in our procedure. As elusive as that may appear to you now in our constitution of recognition of each other within this frame of light, I assure you that it's possible for you to do it. And the lesson that we will undertake today will be a follow-up from the illusion of yesterday's lesson, 152, on the 152nd day, that said, the salvation of the world depends on me, very simply because I am the decisive factor in determining the outcome that I want in the proceedings of my own mind. Look with me. Whatever else has occurred within this frame of that light, right there, as a carryover from just a moment ago when we looked at the idea that was returned to you, an idea of conflict within the reflection of your own light that you then released and felt that moment of joy. Remember 152? Huh? Just the very beginning of it? Remember when we said what you are? Listen. The power of decision is my own. No one can suffer loss unless it be his own decision. No one suffers pain unless his choice elects this state for him. No one can grieve nor fear nor think him sick unless these are the outcomes that he wants. And no one dies, do you hear this, without his own consent. Nothing occurs but represents your wish, and nothing is omitted that you choose, and here is your whole world complete in all details. Here is its whole reality for you, and it is only here that salvation lies. Did you see the bright light that happened just then? Thank you. That was a sudden inclusion of an alteration of the consciousness of ourself within particular identities of reflection of light formulation that up until that moment had appeared to you to be reflections of how you wanted to look at yourself in regard to what you thought was out there. Remember in the practice? The images that you set up in relationship to what you want to see. Let's use, they call me the master teacher of this Course in Miracles, to the simple recognition of the resurrection, of the factoring of image, of light, that you call Jesus of Nazareth is very simply just an increase in the frequencies of the images that appear to be separate from you in a correspondence of the light identity that shows you at any single moment who you're not. Come on. Let's look for just a moment and correspond with the idea of the power of light. There's a proceeding within you that identifies yourself in a factoring of refractions and reflections of light that indicate the possibility that you have an image of yourself that will correspond to an image over here. And in the certainty of the separation of the factoring of image of ourself, we construct defense and attack motivations within our own mind. Thank you for that. Thank you now in this hologram of light association. In the resurrection of Jesus, we are able to see suddenly that figures that previously held us in the bondage of the entanglement of our mind in ideas of virtual separation, but didn't allow us to see the simplicity of this observation, that at that moment I was defenseless. And at that moment I felt the joy of the instant conversion of the formulation of my body identity within images that had previously represented ideas that I had about myself in what we call light energy fabrics of matter consciousness in the whole universe. Because the whole universe, look with me, as you now progress in this teaching, is only where? Within my own mind. The requirement of the excitement that I'm beginning to feel with you now in regard to this lesson, the lesson of 153 on the 153rd day of the entirety of the acknowledgement of the progress that you're making in converting the illusionary nature of what previously held you in the bondage of a reflection of light, that each moment that you obtained it seemed to dissolve itself into a meaningless hologram of identity that was in a matrix of energy where each time you looked at it, it seemed to change into something else. And you were doing everything that you could within your consciousness state to defend yourself in the image, you listening to me, that in that moment you had forgotten that you'd placed out there. Well, now you want me to do this defenselessness lesson. To whom will I be speaking? There is only you. There's no way that I could correspond within the entirety of the universe with anyone but you, who are going to finally admit within the perspective of yourself that you're a reflection of your own light. Huh? May we at least set up an argument with each other? They call me the master teacher. I'd love to have you argue with me about my offering of the prospects of my certainty of the entirety of the illusionary quality of the light energy factoring within a hologram that you present to me as some form of reality. Because very obviously the reflection of light that I'm obtaining can only give to you a determination within your own mind of what you want to see.